Right after the Pittsburgh Steelers lost to the Buffalo Bills in a wild card game, Steelers wide receiver Deontay Johnson came out, wasting no time, letting people know who he would like to see as the Steelers starting quarterback next season. Deontay Johnson went out making a comment and said he would like to see Mason Rudolph as the Steelers starting quarterback next season. You know, he said he's been around Mason for some time and he wasn't surprised what Mason did, you know, in those games that he got in. He said he knows what he can do, and he's rooting for Mason. So, you know, any other time, this wouldn't be not a big deal at all. You know, say, hey, that's who he likes. Both quarterbacks on the team. You know, you move on from there and you let the coaches, you know, decide and you let them battle it out camp or whatever like that. But the only thing is Mason is a free agent. He may not even be on the Pittsburgh Steelers next season. So you go out and make a comment, you know, about a guy who may not be your teammate. You know, he may not even be on the team. You know, Mason did some good things in those 4 games, you know, 3 regular and 1 playoff, you know, so he might have earned himself, you know, a contract somewhere else, you know, depending on past, you know, how the Steelers treated him and how he feels. You know, and it depends on the compensation. You know, they're going to, you know, they want Mason back. You know, players are saying it. Mike Tomlin came out and said it. You know, they would like to do business with Mason and things like that. So they will want him back, but it's up to Mason, you know, ultimately. Does he trust the Steelers of giving him a shot? And then, you know, Mike Tomlin also said Kenny Pickett's back to QB1. So do Mason trust the Steelers to even get, you know, a fair shake if they say, hey, it's going to be you, Pickett, and maybe X, you know, another quarterback in the room battling things out, you know, and you will have a fair shake this time. You know, it's up to Mason to want to believe that. We don't know how Mason really feels about the Steelers, you know, being that, you know, he didn't play 1 year and things like that. So he may not even be back. And you make a comment like that, and we know Kenny Pickett's coming back. So that's a little, you know, that creates a little problem there. You know, a little turmoil there, especially with this offseason, man. It's going to be a really important offseason because you have to get that offensive coordinator. You have to get that hire right. So it's already pressure for that. You know, and then you get the playoff win. You know, you got to get that monkey off your back. It's just a lot going on, you know, and then you put out there the comment right after the playoff loss, and that's just, it stirs it up, you know. And now if you're Kenny Pickett, you have to think, hey, does George Pickens feel this way? You know, like, you know, because these are the guys I have to throw to. You know, Pat Freiermuth really feels this way because it was said that the team responded better with Mason in there. You know, there was some Steelers insiders that said the locker room felt a little different with Mason in there. Guys were a little, you know, the defensive players made some comments saying that they enjoyed watching the game. You know, watching some of the game and not having to be on the field all game with the 3 and outs and things like that. So there were some guys making some big comments about the change of Mason Rudolph being in that lineup. Mike Tomlin said some good things about Mason. You know, he appreciated him being prepared to throw in there. You know, Mason ain't played in a long time, and when his number was called, he was ready. You know, part of the reason why they was in the playoffs. If you know, mainly the reason, you know, with the quarterback play, to being able to score points. You know, so, you know, people want Mason back, man, and so it's not surprising that Deontay Johnson wants Mason back. You know, if you look at him and George Pickens, man, those guys look like they were having fun with Mason in there. You know, there was the game where George Pickens didn't even have a target. He had one, I think it was an end around, you know, jet sweep or something like that, one of those, and he was on a bench smiling and dancing and stuff like that because he had 2 monster games before, you know, or a good game before. So he's like, hey, I got mine last. All right, cool. And then he knows that Mason's going to give him another opportunity. He says it before, man, I'm just appreciative of Mason. He gave me a shot. He took those shots. So, the receivers, one receiver has come out and said it. Deontay has said it. He would rather have Mason as his quarterback. He wish Mason gets the job. So he put it out there. So like I said, when Pickens on his first interview, press conference after, and he was just praising Mason himself, saying that he took those shots, that he wasn't getting previously. So, it's going to be something, man. Especially if Mason doesn't sign with the Steelers. If George Pickens come out and say the same thing, and then maybe Pat Freiermuth indicate, hey, things was a little better with Mason in there, and then Mason don't re-sign with the Steelers. Man, that'll be something. Now Kenny Pickett has to earn it back. You could say he lost the team. The coach wanted to go in Mason's direction, so that means he didn't play. His play wasn't up to par to where, rather, when he was healthy, any other quarterbacks, they go down, they get healthy, they get put back in the lineup. And that didn't happen with Kenny Pickett. So, even though Mike Tomlin said he's QB1, he didn't have that faith when he was healthy, which everybody can understand why, because you see what Mason was doing. He was doing things that Kenny wasn't doing. So why would you break that up? So it's going to be something, man. I think that the Steelers definitely have to. If Mason don't come back, man, you have to get somebody else. You have to. It's a great year to draft. Great year to draft somebody, especially getting offensive coordinator. You get your coordinator first, which you're gonna have to do. Drafts are months away. The sooner the better, but don't rush it. And then you go and get the quarterback that fits that style. That's what you do. In my opinion. And then if Kenny fits it, he fits it. If not, I know they're gonna not give up on him, and like he said, he's QB1 and things like that, but he needs competition. Competition, like he said, brings out the best. And right now, the Steelers need the best quarterback play. That's the only thing they're missing, on that will take them over the hump. I mean, the defenses, if you look at the Steelers, I think their defense is better than the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are still playing. So what is that? What's the difference? A quarterback, so just say, I don't know how good the Buccaneers defense is, but I think the Steelers defense may be around the same, if not better. They're still playing. Why is that? Baker Mayfield elevated his play. So that's what you're going to have to need. That's what you're going to need if you're the Steelers, if you're going to get that playoff monkey off your back, getting a win. You're going to need that quarterback. And, as of so far, Kenny hasn't shown. That doesn't mean he can't in the future. He may be a coordinator away. He's shown flashes, but you want to see it all put together. And Mason has shown more, in those 4 games than Kenny shown all season when he was in there, and maybe last year. So it's a dilemma, which led the receivers like Deontay Johnson to come out with comments like this, and you cannot blame him though. You just can't. If you look at his numbers with Mason in there, you look at Pickens' numbers with Mason in there, Pat Freiermuth was getting some targets, but Kenny Pickett and Patty Fry hooked up sometimes, so he had that good game with Pat Freiermuth against the Bengals and things like that. So, but the guys' numbers were up. Even Allen Robinson got more catches than he was getting. You know, he went from 1 catch a game to maybe 2. You know, so it's just everybody. The production was up with the receivers, and which helped the running game out because you have to respect Mason's arm. He has a deep ball, so you don't want to get beat over the top. You can't load up, and if not, Najee's been turning it up on the running. He just helped everything out on the offense as a whole. So it's not a surprise that people are coming out voicing them wanting Mason in the offense as the quarterback. And I guarantee you Deontay Johnson is probably not the only person that feels that way. There was probably conversations made, and he's probably just being a spokesman, putting it all on him and saying, hey, I hope he get the job, but really he may mean we hope he gets the job. You never know. So hopefully to keep everything cool, Mason Rudolph comes back to the Steelers, and you can have the competition, whether they draft somebody to go in the mix or bring in a free agent. I believe if you sign Mason, then you go the free agent route, because you got Kenny, Mason, and then if you draft somebody, then that's going to be like, hey, but if not, draft somebody young, have them battle it out with Kenny, new offensive coordinator, and may the best person win. But Kenny definitely needs competition. You can't just give him, he hasn't earned that right to just have the keys, because if he earned that right to just have the keys next season, he should have been in there once he got healthy. So we'll just have to see what happens. But Deontay Johnson making it very, very clear he wants Mason in there. So what do you guys think about that? And we'll just have to see how the situation unfolds with the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation next year. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell to get all the new videos. And until next time, I'm out.